Hello everyone and welcome back to Weird Transfers FC. It's episode 2 and today's story is a why always me one. Yep, you guessed it. It's Mario Balotelli and his doomed move to Liverpool. Now, here's the thing. This is one of those transfers where hindsight isn't even necessary. Even at the time, you didn't need to be a football expert to sense that this wasn't going to work. Even at Liverpool's absolute peak under Jurgen Klopp with the structure, intensity and belief, Mario Balotelli would have still struggled. But Liverpool didn't sign him at their best. They signed him during absolute chaos. And to understand why this move failed so badly, we need to rewind to the very start of Balotelli's career. Because with Balotelli, football was never just football. Wherever controversy went, Balotelli followed. But you guys already know that part. So, he broke through young at Inter Milan. And even back then, the pattern was already forming. The talent was undeniable. Raw, powerful, effortless. But the problems always overshadowed his immense ability. That remains the story of his career. Anyway, coming back to the story. At Inter, Balotelli regularly argued with senior teammates despite still being a teenager. His lack of effort and attitude issues eventually pushed Jose Mourinho to drop him from the first team altogether. He clashed openly and was even booed by his own supporters. Behind the scenes, disciplinary problems kept piling up, including the infamous incident in which he appeared on the Italian national television wearing an AC Milan shirt while still being an Inter player. The breaking point came after a Champions League semi-final against Barcelona. Booed by the San Siro crowd, Balotelli threw his Inter shirt on the ground in frustration. That was it. The fans had had enough of Balotelli's antics and his constant lack of giving a damn about football. The board decided to sell him while his stock was still somewhat high. Next stop, Manchester City. City backed him more than anyone ever had. Roberto Mancini, the same man who helped bring him through at Inter, treated Balotelli like a son. And yet, somehow, the chaos kept escalating. There was a massive training ground bust-up between Mario and Micah Richards. It was so severe that teammates had to physically break it up. He repeatedly missed training sessions and was fined repeatedly for poor discipline. Then came one of the football's most absurd stories. In 2011, firefighters were called to Balotelli's house after a fire broke out in his bathroom. Why? Because he and his friends had been setting off fireworks indoors. When asked why he had fireworks inside the house, Balotelli delivered an answer only he could deliver. He said, and I quote, "Because I am Mario Balotelli." And just days later, he scored in the Manchester derby and lifted his shirt to reveal the now iconic message, "Why always me?" Ironic, right? And somehow, after all these incidents, that still wasn't the end of his story at Manchester City. Another infamous incident involved Balotelli throwing darts at youth team players during training. He accumulated so many fines that he actually took Manchester City to court over it, only to drop the case the day before the hearing. Wise decision, Mario. I wouldn't mess with Sheikh Mansour either. The final breaking point came during a preseason tour in the United States. Balotelli and Mancini got into a physical altercation during training. It was caught live on camera. That was the moment City realized if even his footballing dad Mancini couldn't control him, no one could. And so he was gone again. This time to AC Milan. On paper, it made sense. A club he adored, familiar surroundings, a chance to reset. But the cycle repeated, of course. Clashes with coach, frustration on the pitch, dressing room tension, and wild inconsistency. And surprise, surprise, Milan eventually cut their losses too. And then Liverpool arrived, seeking a replacement for Luis Suárez. Yes, that actually happened. A move that made absolutely no sense. Balotelli's return to Milan at least had a logical basis to it. Balotelli moving to Liverpool was weird at the very highest level. Brendan Rodgers didn't even want him. He had publicly stated that Balotelli wasn't the type of player he envisioned for his system at Liverpool. Meanwhile, Liverpool was so desperate that they had Steven Gerrard personally phoning players like Toni Kroos to convince them to join the club. This was not a club in control of its recruitment. It was in utter and total chaos. So, how did Balotelli end up at Anfield? Well, after a failed title challenge and Suárez's departure, Liverpool were left with a superstar-sized hole. They tried to replace Suárez like for like, even making a move for then Barcelona star Alexis Sanchez, and were ready to meet Barcelona's demands. But Sanchez chose Arsenal instead. Wise choice. And suddenly, Liverpool were forced into Plan B. And Plan B? Well, there was no Plan B. Instead of clarity, Liverpool went for quantity. A scattergun recruitment drive of good players on paper, but players Brendan Rodgers couldn't integrate into his system, and Mario Balotelli was part of that gamble. With no elite stars willing to join the project, the club convinced itself that it could fix a broken superstar. They were batting against history, and guess what? History won. Balotelli's time at Liverpool unraveled quickly. He made just 28 appearances in all competitions and scored just 4 goals, only one of them in the Premier League, a late winner against Tottenham. He struggled badly in Rodgers' high-intensity system, often looking isolated, low on confidence, and disconnected from the team structure. Injuries, tactical mismatch, and constant disruption sealed his fate. By the end of the season, Liverpool had already decided to move him on, loaning him back to AC Milan. But here's where this story deserves balance. For all the chaos and disappointment, Mario Balotelli was never hated by Liverpool fans. When he arrived, there was genuine excitement. Fans waited outside Belwood just to catch a glimpse of him. There was real belief, maybe naive, maybe desperate, that this could finally be the place where it all clicked for him. And to Balotelli's credit, he never disrespected the badge. There were no public outbursts, no dressing room leaks, no moments where he turned against the club or its supporters. When it didn't work, he accepted it. He didn't burn bridges. And that matters. Balotelli at Liverpool felt like the wrong player at the wrong club at the wrong time. Suárez's replacement couldn't have been more un-Suárez-like, and that failure belongs more to the club and the system than to Balotelli himself. He wasn't toxic, he wasn't sulking, he was simply lost in a system that demanded constant movement, pressing, and positional discipline, none of which played to his natural strengths, unlike his previous clubs. There were still flashes though, a decisive European goal, moments of brilliant link-up play, glimpses of the talent that once made him one of football's most fascinating figures. In the end, Mario Balotelli didn't give Liverpool what they needed, but he also never gave them a reason to hate him. And with that, we close the chapter on Mario Balotelli and his trial before and during his time at Liverpool. Thank you for watching, guys. It genuinely means a lot. Drop your suggestions for future episodes, and if you enjoyed this one, support the channel with a like, a share, and a subscription. See you in the next one. Ciao ciao.